Today, I would like to talk on polygamy in the Quran. Polygamy in the Quran. In the Arab religion thinking, man is supreme over woman. He is king of the house, king of the jungle, and the king on the earth ultimately. How they drive to this is anybody's guess. A woman practically has no rights whatsoever to anything, and in fact not even rights to her own well-being. A woman is nothing more than a servant to serve man's lusts, both sexually and gastronomically. She is to perform everything at his behest. Otherwise, she is doomed on the earth and the hereafter eternally. This, the Arab says, is the order of the God, and marrying more than one, up to 4 simultaneously, is reckoned coming from the Quran in chapter Al-Nisa, that is the chapter number 4, from the verse number 3. Thus, polygamy symbolizes the male supremacy, and in the delight, that is the male, they marvel in this way of life and truly believe that the God has favored them over the fairer sex. Upon studying the relevant verses in the Quran, what is revealed is not about the polygamy, but rather a guidance pertaining to the care and administration of the orphans and their inheritance, especially focusing on the female orphans. As females have been mistreated along the twisted male beliefs, a chapter is dedicated to women to bring back the order, that is deen. The corrected translation of the verses are as follows. I am reading Surah Nisa, that is chapter 4, verse number 1. O people, observe your Lord, who created a person and another he created of his spouse, and he expanded from both more males and females, and observe the God who you constantly request to for the family. Indeed, the God he cares for you. Verse number 2, and hand over the orphans their inheritance, and you shall not exchange the bad for the good, and you shall not deposit their assets into your assets, for indeed that will be a great injustice. Verse number 3, that is chapter 4, verse 3. And if you fear that you are unable to mete out the justness amongst the orphan, therefore marry them off from you. Therefore marry them off from you of the females pairing in of the females pairing in 2 and in 3 and in 4. Hence, if you fear about the fairness, thus once and for all your decision, that is to ensure you avoiding any misappropriation. Chapter 4, verse 4. And hand over the females their inheritance sincerely. Hence, if they are kind towards you, a personal portion from it, thus accepted graciously. Chapter 4, ayat 5. And you shall not hand to the immature the inheritance, which the God entrusted with you. Spend it on them from it, and clothe them and communicate with them properly. What we see in the above corrected translation is another corruption done to yet another subject in the Quran that have been mistranslated for their own gains in producing false religious doctrines. Is there any line describing or supporting polygamy anywhere there? It's pertinent to note that all the subjects in the Quran address the people, both men and women, when a particular subject begins with Ya ayyuhan nas, that is, O people. As in the beginning of this chapter, that is Surah Nisa, the following use in the chapter in the context with the given subject are addressing the plural third party, all people, men and women. So, if they insist that this is the subject of polygamy, then it applies to both men and women. That is, polygamy is open to all. Now, how would the men like that? Subjugation is the name of the game. Religion is the one of the two effective methods. The other is the political. To enslave the people by putting fear in their hearts and minds of the people and applying God as the trump card. Moses was sent to deliver the Israelites from the Pharaoh who held them in religious bondage. And in fact, the Pharaoh even proclaimed himself God to the people. Jesus was sent to the Israelis for the same purpose, to free them from the same religious bondage they were in. What is clear is that the people are either addicted to the religious bondage, or they have actually learned to like religion and turn away each time a messenger came to them. However, socially unacceptable, the idea of polygamy, and is being practiced everywhere and all over the world by every race through the ages, and it is simply a social disorder which needs to be corrected through proper education. What Arab religion advocates is totally false, and to say it is done in the name of God is evil indeed. This is what the book you read. Women are worse than the slaves in the Muslim families. I don't need to say on this. Every Muslim knows about it. So read in this book. Any unjust instructions will not be given in this book. Be sure about it. This is what I want to say to you.